Welcome to a very special edition of Tuesdays with Maury, or Aaron and River. It's not Tuesday again, but next week we swear to God we are going to be back on Tuesdays. And this is a special episode for mainly because Todd committed to coming up with a list of names, and we were going to decide once and for all what the name of the show is with your guys' help. So I let him come up with a list, and then you guys are going to help us decide because we have to call it something. We got to give it a name. This dog is getting too old.
I couldn't really decide. I came up with...
When he comes home and he destroys my house, I want to know what to call him. Sorry, it's Beethoven.
Yeah, so I have 13 names, random names I came up with.
Why don't you put... Okay, say them and put them, and then put them in the chat after, or if you want to do it as you go, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Because they're going to have to, decide.
Yeah. Let me put them in the chat.
Get them ready to queue up, and then you can read them or whatever. Just do however you want to do it.
Okay. First one is Second Run Cinema. That's the first one.
Second Run Cinema.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's number one. These aren't in any particular order, so these are just 13 I have. Okay, yeah. Second Run Cinema.
Put numbers next to them just in case they get all confused with the comments. Second Run Cinema. So what's the meaning behind that name?
I don't know. Well, Second Run. I mean, we do,
like second run, like a second pressing, a second run of a movie.
Second run, okay. Yeah. So like
that's not too bad.
Yeah, yeah. Number two, Video Rot.
Video Rot.
Video Rot is number two.
Remember, we have to maybe we're looking for something a little broader, maybe like putting cinema or movie in the title because we talk about other stuff. It doesn't just stay on that. So we'll see what else you got.
Well, I have a couple videos in there. So
Video Rot's pretty cool though. That could just mean we're on video. I don't know.
So, number three, Primitive Video.
Doesn't roll off the tongue. Too many syllables, but okay. Primitive Video. Video Rot rolls off the tongue better. Cock Rot's good. Silhouette.
Number four, Ending Credits.
Boo. Put it in there though.
Okay.
You got to come up with one that tops Mendoza's, which is 2 guys, 1 podcast, 2 guys, 1 cup, or just 2 guys, 1 cup. It's boring.
No, nobody will want to actually watch us. If that's
Moist Media. Moist Media is pretty good.
Well, no female listeners. Number 5, the Sofa Spuds.
The Sofa Spuds. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not on a sofa at all, but okay.
Well, we're couch potatoes, right? We watch movies.
I get you.
Number 6.
2 guys, 1 ass. Okay.
Fictional Reality.
Oh, it's a Slayer song.
Yep.
Doesn't really make sense to what we talk about though. How does that tie in?
Well, I don't know. It's somebody's fiction and somebody's reality. I don't know.
If we did 2 guys, 1 cup, we could abbreviate it 2G1C. Oh, the new 2G1C or the new 2G1P. Okay, continue. Fictional reality.
Mind crawlers.
Mind crawl. What? These sound like generic VHSs you find like at a mom and pop video shop.
No, some of these are names of songs.
Mind crawlers. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Number 8. Well, they can't all be bangers, man.
I mean, so far, one of them is okay. Night Creepers? Okay.
Number 9. This one I came up when I was running on the treadmill at the gym. I don't know why I just thought of this. It's a dumb name, but I thought it was kind of funny. Velcro shoes and TV dinners.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I really do like Second Run Cinema a lot. The only thing is we already have Cinema Enema, so I think maybe we should shy away from cinema. Otherwise, that is the best. So I'm on the fence. I remember the second best is Video Rot. Video Rot's, I don't know what the fuck it means, but it rolls off the tongue. Video Rot. I don't know. Almost like one word.
Okay, well, let's not go back over these yet. Number 10, Dust Collectors.
Dust Collectors?
Yeah. Like all the physical media we buy just collects dust.
I mean, that's not that's got potential. The dust collectors. Yeah, but it also means like we're getting old and we're just fucking rotting on a. Are we gathering dust or is our stuff gathering dust? I get it. It's not too bad. Nostalgia rot. That's not too bad. That's kind of
Nostalgia.
mixing.
Yeah, that kind of goes with my next one, but
Okay. Go ahead.
coming of age.
That was the name. That's terrible.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's corny, dude. Go ahead and write it though.
I don't,
You
already
guys spell
did.
coming CUMMING. No, no.
Direct to video.
That's not bad. That's actually not too bad. Because I wonder if there's already a podcast called Direct to Video though. Because we could be the DTVP, the DTV podcast.
And
Not
the
too
last
bad.
one's secondhand video. So it goes from second runs. Yeah. So
I wonder if there's like a way we can combine some of the best of these. Like I do
Good.
like direct to video. I like Nostalgia Rot, which is kind of already a blend. That's what Silhouette did. But as far as what Todd brought to the table, personally, I like second run cinema. My only reservation is we already have cinema enema, which has the same word in it. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but that is the best one. Second run cinema is the best. And then I like video rot, and then I like direct to video. If we could somehow work those into it, or yeah, Mendoza, we could just be the bottom boys.
God. That's your podcast, Adrian, not ours.
The rewind video.
tops.
So what do you guys? Yeah, come over here and let River prove it to you.
Jesus.
So Velcro shoes. Some of these are definitely no's, like Velcro shoes and TV. He's describing his Friday nights. Not he doesn't speak for both of us. So what do you guys think out of that list that he gave? The jerk it boys. It's like the jerky boys. That's funny. Yeah, I know. I meant those. I was telling him already. You must have just joined. What's up? He's saying two guys in a cup. Riverman's not for it, even though I think it would get hits. It's like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, so out of what he said, let's kind of go over him one more time. We're gonna let everybody decide. By the time this is done, this episode, it's gonna be settled. He brought to the table second run cinema, which I think is the best. It just my only reservation is because it has cinema in the title. We've already got cinema enema, but maybe that's just a small nitpick. Not and then video rot was the second one. Primitive video, ending credits. I kind of like Blocko's moist media. I'm just kidding. The sofa spuds. Fictional reality. Not good. Mind crawlers. Night creepers. Like these don't sound like podcasts. I don't know if they Velcro shoes and TV dinners. The dust collectors is not bad. I think that's got potential.
Or like the game chasers or the dust collectors.
The new dust collectors. And then we have coming of age. That was not good. Direct to videos, that's kind of cool. Secondhand video. Blocko's kind of changing it because I like the second run cinema. Blocko said second run media.
Second run media is not bad.
But something about second run cinema that just like rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? But we've got cinema.
We have a cinema. We can't have the cinema in there if we already have a cinema.
Second run media. That's not bad.
I like video rot is my favorite, but that's
video rot. Video rot's your favorite. Second run rot. No, it's second hand rot. Second. Let's see. Video rot media. What about video? Okay, I don't know. Video rot is Mendoza's favorite. Sean's like cheap seats. Second run rewind. I think it's too wordy. Okay, so we got a vote. Mendoza has one vote for video rot. Todd's got a vote for video rot. I do like video rot. It's at least my second favorite.
It's just
so
quick and easy. Video rot. You know, it's not like.
Okay. What about video rotten? Yeah, video rot.
Yeah.
Silhouette likes video rot. Crotch rot. Okay, Mendoza. Blocko says Video Rot's the best. Everybody says Video Rot's the best. Okay,
Don't let me
so
sway you, but I
it's
don't
it's
know.
it's fairly unanimous then. Okay, so is Video Rot better than Video Rotten?
When I think of rotten, I think of like rotten cotton or something like
Yeah, but
that.
that's so fucking 2000. Does anybody go to Rotten Cotton still?
I don't even know if it's still around, but
They don't own the word for
I,
rotten.
I just like rot how it's nice and quick. It's video rot. I mean,
But Video Rotten has two syllables, just like Video Nasty, right? It doesn't sound bad either. Well, but whatever. It's
it
just a
doesn't matter.
suggestion.
Rotten
So
rot. It doesn't matter.
Video Rot is good. So yeah, just everybody tell me, is Rot definitely better than Video Rotten? So Mendoza says Video Rot is better. Give me some more votes on that, and then we'll call it a day. Video Rot versus Rotten. Give me your votes. And the Midwest boys. I'm not in the Midwest anymore. The Midwest Bottom boys. The Midwest Bottoms. We're the Midwest Bottoms.
Midwest Twinks.
I'm gonna change Riverman's name to Todd the Top.
Todd the Bear.
God. Anyway, so okay, I guess it's VHS positive. That's funny, Sean. Actually.
Oh, that is funny.
That is funny. Damn. VHS positive. Shit, man, a dark horse entered the race.
But we don't only cover VHS. I mean, video.
Yeah.
I know we cover music too, but Video Rot is just like video media.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. I like it. It's official. We are Video Rot. I would have never in a million years thought we would have had a name like Video Rot. So let me start over then. Welcome to the newest episode of Video. Is this the first episode or the newest episode? It's the newest episode. All right, I'm back. Nothing happened at all. I didn't have to restart. My audio didn't go out. I think the name is cursed because as soon as we announced the name was Video Rot, are we just like a new episode of Video Rot, or is this, hey, welcome to the Video Rot podcast? Video Rot vlog. Or just Video Rot?
No. The latter, what you said first.
Is this Video Rot?
Yeah.
That would be the aforementioned.
Yes.
The latter's the last one.
Okay.
Okay, so please, I'm a writer. I'm just kidding. So are we VR troopers then?
Yes.
A new episode of VR. New episode of the VR boys. Or we gotta make some memes, some thumbnails of us like wearing VR gear. Ooh.
Oh, that'd be hysterical, dude. Which I never watched VR Troopers.
It's not good.
No, I imagine it's not good.
All right. Well, I feel like we got to start living up to this name, Video Rot, because I think it implies that we're grimier than what we are. But but it's all right. We're Video Rot. So anyway, on this edition of Video Rot, yeah, welcome to an all new episode of Video Rot. We're going to be talking about Shudder. We first, Todd wanted us to watch this movie called The Sadness that's on Shudder. We'll get to it. And then I thought, well, that's kind of what Cinema Enema is for if we just talk about a movie. How about we expand it? We could talk about that movie, but let's talk about Shudder originals in general. Because at least for a while, Shudder's originals were really solid. I mean, I've seen a couple that don't really do it for me now, but there was a couple of years where it's like, man, they were all bangers, right? So we'll talk about that. If you want to take just a couple of minutes, did you get anything that you want to run by everybody really quick?
Yeah, I got a couple of 3 things.
Go ahead and knock that out real fast.
I don't know. They're not very big things, but I got this for $5 on eBay, which I'm kind of an uber fan of. And it's a great coffee table book for $5, which blows my mind because it was $5 free shipping. This thing weighs like 2.5 pounds, so they didn't make any money off of it. They just paid for shipping. This is the MASH complete book of MASH, so I'm excited about that. That was my first thing. My second thing was something I found that I liked this movie when I was a kid. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it has to deal with it's kind of like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, but talking about Henry Lee Lucas, and it's the Confessions of a Serial Killer.
Yeah,
did you ever watch this?
No, I've seen the cover a million times though.
Yeah, so I picked that up. I liked it when I was a kid, and I'm curious to see if it holds up because I love those 80s serial killer movies. My last one was one I got from Amazon. They had Mill Creek was doing a bunch of box set sales for like $25, 26, $27, something. And I saw it and I was like, damn, I haven't watched this show since, I watched it with my mom and dad growing up, and I wanted to plow through it because I never really sat down and watched it. And it is Miami Vice box
Okay.
set, Blu-ray box set. And this, man, I watched the first episode's awesome, dude. It's like an hour and a half. And the good thing about this release is they actually have like all the songs in it. So they got
The
they
Phil
have like
Collins.
Phil Collins, everything, all the soundtrack score. It's in this. So as far as I know, everything's in there. But
Come next recording, you'll be sockless. The
so
influence will be strong.
yeah, but no, I picked that up and I started plowing through it, and it's great if you haven't seen Miami Vice.
Well, how much did you get it for?
It was like $27 on
Mm.
Amazon, but it was only up for like 3-4 hours and then sold out. So
No digitals.
no digitals for this. I don't think. No, the Quantum Leaps didn't have digitals either. So
I know. I wish TV shows would do that. They don't really do it. I'd buy Quantum Leap in a second if it had digitals too. That would put me over.
I don't know. I only watch movies in my basement, so
I mean, like that stuff comes in handy though when I'm traveling. Like I love it. I
Yeah.
love my Voodoo. Like whenever I go visit my grandmother, she has like no internet. There's no fucking TV in the basement, like where I stay. You're really hard pressed to be
that would
entertained.
suck. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, man, I gotta load up on that stuff, and I gotta like pre-download stuff, and it's just yeah. So the more stuff like that I have, the better. But anyway, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Special needs episode of Quantum Leap in 1080p. That's right, Silhouette. There is only one way to watch that. Okay, so I have actually a small stack of stuff that I've been meaning. I forgot things here and there, and I just want to talk about it. And then I got one thing. Okay, hold on. Let's start. Funny story with this one too. Okay, this is Genesis Invisible Touch.
Oh,
Right.
that's a great. Yeah.
Love this record. This is funny story here. This is the first time when you buy vinyl, you encounter different things that you might not encounter buying CDs and stuff like that. From defective grooves or what have you. But this one had something that I had not encountered yet. So I opened it. It's Invisible Touch. I pulled out the sleeve or the inner sleeve, and I took out the wax. And it was right. It was Invisible Touch on the wax. Side one, great. Opens with the title track. I look at it, great. Let's put it on. Totally different album when I start playing it.
What was it?
It was the Genesis self-titled record that starts with Mama.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just a total misprint.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so I sent that back. I actually bought it from Elusive Disc, and instead of like returning it because it's a hassle, I just rebought it on Amazon and returned the. I just literally swapped out all right, give me that. And I tested it first. Like, let's make sure the whole well wasn't poisoned at the factory, right?
Where was Lucid Disc? What is that? Is that a brick and mortar?
They're an online record store. That's where I bought that Jerry Cantrell that first time. That's the only time that I shop with him. But anyway, it's not their fault. But anyway, it's the first time I've ever seen that. So yeah, it was. I was like, I'm not crazy. Like, this is Mama. What the fuck is this? I was like,
Yeah,
I had to like look at it again.
nuts.
Like, is it the wrong Like, no, it says Invisible Touch, and the track list is right there. What the hell? And it's so funny because if you were some kind of like Genesis newbie, you might not know a difference. You'd be like, all right, I guess this is Invisible Touch. Mama?
Yeah, no, you don't get in too deep on there. You'd probably be going crazy, man. You bring your old lady. You bring your old lady over, and you're hoping that you get the Invisible Touch album, and you don't get the In Too Deep. You're pretty much screwed for the night.
Well, we'll get there. Genesis kick. I got Duke as well.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a big Genesis fan, right? So
I love Phil Collins, man. I don't blame you. He is Genesis.
Duke is amazing. Duke has Turn It On Again, which is another one of their big hits. And Misunderstanding as well. Misunderstanding is okay. It's actually not one of my favorite big hits by Genesis, but I love Turn It On Again. And let me see. Duke is like the precursor to Invisible Touch. You know, it's got a very similar kind of commercial feel. Rocky Four
Oh,
OST.
nice.
I love the soundtrack,
It's
man.
great. It's great.
And I had picked this up pretty inexpensively too. It wasn't too much, and I don't remember what I paid for it. It was under 20. It wasn't much, but I absolutely love it. It's a no brainer, man. It's pretty cliche to listen to this to get pumped up when you're about to do something. Like if you have to go on a run or if you got to force your way through a workout. I am the guy who's listening to the Rocky Four soundtrack in my on my Spotify, and you would be embarrassed if like all of a sudden if like the gym's Bluetooth or whatever tapped into your phone and started playing what you're listening to on the PA, and then like the cameras, you were on all the monitors and everybody knew it was you listening to it. You know, it would be kind of embarrassing.
On fire.
Drago! Yeah. No easy way out. That's no easy way out. Anyway, it's kind of cliche, but it's awesome.
Phil Collins, Silhouette. My favorite Genesis album is actually the last one, We Can't Dance. I love that album. Which I would pick that up. Did you have that one?
Which one?
We Can't Dance.
I don't have that one.
That's my favorite Genesis album.
The last Genesis album they put out with Phil Collins?
Yeah, because
it's not the best.
I listened to it as a kid so many damn times. I love it. That's why it's my favorite.
It's probably the least best Phil Collins Genesis album. I actually Phil Collins solo's okay, but it's all about Genesis. I think Genesis Phil even so if if you're not familiar with if you're not up on your Phil Collins, the only reasons Genesis got as commercially big as they did is because his solo stuff hit first. So he was coming out with shit like all the way up until like Duke, and they had solid hits. They had gold records, maybe like a platinum or two. But then he came out. Well, he had his first solo record, but then he came out with No Jacket Required, the big one, right, or whatever it is, with In the Air Tonight and all that stuff, and Susa Studio, I think. Anyway, that thing was a fucking massive beast, and it sold millions, probably 8, 9, 10 million copies in the U.S. And then they used that momentum. Then Genesis kind of came back after a bit of a hiatus, and they put out Invisible Touch. And so on the heels of like, oh, it's Phil Collins, this guy who did In the Air Tonight and all these big songs, then they come out with Invisible Touch, which has songs that are very Phil Collins-y like. It has, like you said, In Too Deep, right? Which is a very... You could, if I didn't know any better, you could have told me that was on the same album as Susa Studio and all that shit, and I would have been like, yeah, okay. But no, it's actually a Genesis song. So, and then Invisible Touch was a huge album, and it just kind of rode off the back of that. But anyway, sometimes Phil Collins gets a little too sappy.
I know people say that, but I mean,
I love Against All Odds. Against All Odds is an awesome song. That's an awesome song.
Yeah, it is.
When we start getting into like Tarzan and shit like that, and You Can't Hurry Love covers, it gets a little sappier than Genesis. Genesis doesn't quite get that sappy.
But I love it. I love his sappy stuff though. His best album is But Seriously. I have that album, man, and I listen to that shit all the time.
All right, I got Judas Priest Unleashed in the East here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's classic. Just kind of filling out the Priest collection. This is a good one. You ready for it?
Yes. Why didn't you tell me that came out?
Because this one I just got. It's on Elusive Disc, and it came in like 2 days. So it's in stock now. It's on. I think it's on Amazon. It's not like super cheap. You might. I think I might have. This one might have cost me upper 20s to 30. I can't remember what I paid for it, but it's available and it's not like ridiculous. I know. I know it's on Elusive, and you could probably find it a couple other places.
Okay.
And I haven't cracked this one open yet.
Yeah, because that was
came out in 2020 for the 30th anniversary, and that kind of went out of press pretty fast, and
it was going for high dollar for a little bit.
All right. I have a Dark Souls 2 soundtrack. I love the Souls games. And I've gotten into soundtracks. I told myself I wasn't. Look at me.
Did you end up listening to that Resident Evil soundtrack yet?
I did. And they're just... I actually didn't realize it, but it's It's the remake.
Oh, really?
I had no idea. Yeah, it's totally not the original game. It's the remake. So the music's actually a bit better, to be
Mm.
honest with you. But it's still very just mood music. It's not like the Terminator soundtrack where it's like, dude, this is fucking rocking. But no, it's okay. Speaking of soundtracks, I have two out of the three John Carpenter Lost themes records,
Nice.
and these are awesome. If you've never listened to these, and they're basically just he just wrote themes that never got used for movies. That's really all it is. And I got two, and I have three. Look at that old bastard.
Yeah.
Don't you just want to fucking do a cum tribute on that face?
I do want to see him down in Texas, but if I'm going to come down and see you, then probably won't make it down to Texas this year.
He played because he tours, yeah, and he played. I think it was around when I first moved out here some years back, and he played this. I think it was like Club Red, which is a tiny place, man, and I wanted to go. When I moved out here, though, I was so broke, I just I couldn't do it. But anyway, yeah, I'd like to see him too. And then yeah, that's it. And I have one more thing that was a gift.
A gift
Very
from
much
who?
the lady.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah. This is a Triceraton Zog from the comic book line of TMNT, which these things look fucking badass. This thing is a Hulk, dude. They look so sweet. And yeah, fleshing out my comic line.
Where'd you find that at?
These are newer releases. They're at Target.
Okay.
Target has the exclusives to NECA animated turtle line and comic line, and then Walmart has like all the movie line exclusive stuff. But that's it. Yeah, he was. Zog was in the 2012 cartoon as well. But that's all I got. And like I said, that's some build up that I just kind of like forget about too. So was Shock the Monkey his or Peter Gabriel's? That is Peter Gabriel. That is one of Peter Gabriel's biggest hits. Peter Gabriel had So, which is from that's his biggest album. That's got Salisbury Hill. That's got In Your Eyes.
It's a great album.
I'm pretty sure Salisbury Hill's on So. Maybe it isn't. Maybe So was just Sledgehammer and In Your Eyes. But I think Salisbury Hill is on the previous record, his first one. My bad. But yeah, I know Peter Gabriel's awesome too, and I think So is one of the best sounding records of all time. It's really, really, really good. Anyway, when I hear Harry Styles, because like my girlfriend listens to that shit, and I hear it all the time online, and I'm always listening to her on TikTok, and I hear Harry Styles, Watermelon Sugar, I'm always stupid songs. Anyway, when I hear Harry Styles, he sounds like he's trying to be the Peter Gabriel he's like his music kind of sounds like Peter Gabriel. Like it's not too bad. It's dancey. It's very 80s throwback. It sounds like Peter Gabriel, and like his looks, he's trying to be David Bowie, doing all this like gender bending, like wearing the dresses. So he's just kind of mixing those two for me. Yeah, Harry lack of styles, exactly. But anyway, that's all I got. So if that is all, we're gonna go ahead and roll into our main topic. If you guys are ready to go, we're gonna talk about Shudder. I took a few notes. I don't know if you jotted down some things as far as exclusives, because that's kind of where I want to focus. Shudder. I remember Shudder was a thing. I think I first discovered it. Wasn't it 2011 when it came out? Something like that.
I believe so. Yeah,
I remember being in Russia at the time and living on my laptop trying to find stuff to watch, and I had heard about Shudder. And I think I actually got a trial while I was in Russia, and I watched. Funny enough, I watched the movie Shudder on Shudder, and I think I watched the original one, the Asian one. I never seen the newer one, but anyway, yeah. At the time, it was super bare bones, and it was online. This is like pre apps. You didn't have like Netflix apps on your PlayStation in 2011. You didn't have all that stuff. Netflix was still discs you got in the mail. I'm pretty sure. But Shudder was, and honestly, it was so novelty where it was hard to. I didn't take it really seriously. I'm like, this will never take off.
You didn't think so?
No,
they only charged like $4 though. I mean, that's a huge
but the library wasn't there. It was pretty shit. It wasn't a lot to it. it was a lot of shit you never heard of. They didn't have the big titles like they had now. But anyway, that was just kind of my first experience with it. Obviously, it's come quite a bit since then. I feel like ever since they got Joe Bob back, it was a great investment because ever since Joe Bob came to it, I feel like the stock has just risen and it's gotten more eyes. They talk about it more. Maybe that's just me living in a vacuum of my Joe Bob fandom because I follow all those groups, but I just don't feel like people were talking about Shudder that much before Joe Bob. So they've
Well,
really had.
and brilliant marketing with the so they try to make it an event like Friday nights. It would go live. And they do Joe Bob live for his
Yeah.
double feature. And actually doing that in 2020, whenever it started, is pretty smart idea because like horror fans, they're nerds and they'll actually sit and tune into it and actually have something to look forward to on the weekends.
I don't think it was
Um,
2020 when Joe Bob came back though. Wasn't it like 2019? It
maybe
wasn't.
maybe it was,
Yeah.
but just in the late 20s. So I don't know. They kind of started that trend with that, and I don't know, man. Being able to like actually, I think Joe Bob took questions and stuff too. I don't know. He was like promoting it hard on Twitter at the time. So
Yeah, so Darcy would handle the Twitter and she was on Twitter while the stream was going on.
yeah,
Because it feels like as the seasons of the show have gone on, she's taken a little bit more of a center spot, which
yeah.
she's fine or whatever, but I want more Joe Bob. Anyway, especially when it started in that first year or two, she really was off to the side and would sort of show up just like the mail girl at the end, right? She'd be doing the Twitter and stuff the whole show, and at the end of the show, she'd come with all the questions and stuff like that, and Joe Bob would answer them. It was really cool. Yeah, summer of 2018. That's right, Mendoza.
Okay.
That sounds about right. But anyway, I thought it was great, and then when Joe Bob came back, I mean, to me, the only difference is he's older. I mean, that's it. I think it's just as good as it always was. I
It
mean,
is.
you might have maybe you have emotional attachment or sentimental attachment to the old diner that he was and the trailer that he had. But it's really maybe the difference is maybe the movies that he got to show because he got to show a lot of because this was on TNT back in the day. He had a little bit more. He got to show like Maximum Overdrive. I think he did like all the Friday the 13th movies. He's really at the mercy of what's available on the streamer at the time now. So
Yeah, but they have a pretty solid library though on Shudder, and they come out with a lot of new stuff. I don't know if it's monthly or bi-weekly, but it seems like quite often they're coming out with a lot of new shit.
and you know what? I think even though we live in this era right now of content versus actual movies, which is so funny, by the way. Side note, I was listening to a podcast with Michael Bean, and it's what's that guy? Michael Rosenbaum, the guy that was on Smallville, right? He has a podcast, and he has a lot of cool guests. Basically, he's a con hound, this guy, and he's all at the cons. So a lot of these people that he has on a show are a lot of the people you see at the cons, and he had Michael Bean, and Michael Bean was talking about everything, his story about becoming an alcoholic and burning a lot of bridges in Hollywood. He was talking, but he seems like a really nice guy, telling all his stories from all his old movies. But anyway, he was saying, "Oh, me, I just like to keep working." He's like, "Whatever. I just did a couple of movies, and with his first time directors, whatever. And I like to help and bring, help write the character and help them develop because they're first timers." And he
Mhm.
like corrected himself. He's like, "Well, I don't like to call them movies. I did a couple of pieces of content like for the streamers." He literally was open. He even was talking about it's like, "Oh yeah, there was a period where it's just stuff like you see at the Red Box and." They pay you to come down for one day. He was being very transparent. They pay me a bunch of money to come down for one day, and then all of a sudden, I'm on the cover holding a gun, Michael Bean plastered, and we know it's the Bruce Willis thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that, and he was just talking about it. But anyway, I kind of felt bad for the directors of this thing that's going to be on some streamer because he basically kind of put it down like, well, it's not a movie, it's content. It's like it's
Why
not
it
a
was
real
probably
movie.
a piece of shit.
Well, because it's just to me unfortunately the streaming movies that we have an abundance of now, it's kind of the equivalent of the straight to video days. It's straight to
Yeah,
video
yeah.
now, and those movies were lesser. So I don't. You might like those. There were some good straight to video movies actually, but just like
Absolutely.
every now and again you find a good streamer too. But I think it's pretty much a similar comparison. Anyway, I kind of felt bad for the filmmakers, because they probably watched that interview. Like if that was their first movie, they work on like, oh, he just put us down as content because they know it's like, oh, this because I'm pretty sure these kids didn't write and produce this movie to be filler content. That's just who they sold it to.
Yeah.
It's Netflix or whoever bought it to just pad the fucking library or Redbox or whatever. So, but we do live in this generation now where it's just all about content, and it's really, really hard to be cream that rises to the top. And we used to just call stuff good and bad movies. But now, if you're a bad shit movie, you're just content. You're like, you're no better than a YouTube video. This is not real. But anyway, he took the paychecks. He just wanted to separate. He's like, it's content. No, I don't like to call those movies. Dude, I'd be
Well, why
calling
would he was in the Terminator. He worked with one of the greatest.
I know, but
directors ever.
if I worked with Michael Biehn on my first feature, I'm like, hey motherfucker, I'd call him up. How about stop going on these fucking giant podcasts with 1 million subscribers and calling my shit content, bitch? No, and that's 100% why I would never, like, if I get to make a feature, if I get my dream and I get to make the feature off the heels of what we're doing now, I would never, ever want to cast somebody just because there's some kind of washed up name, because I think it hurts
Oh
you.
no, that doesn't
It
work.
hurt.
That doesn't work now. It did probably about 10 years ago. It worked. I don't know.
No,
If that's
all it does is guarantee you some kind of cash out, right? Because let's say you film a movie for $100,000, a feature, and you put Robert Patrick in it as your star. Robert Patrick has been in a couple of big things as like a support guy, but Robert Patrick or Michael Biehn or whoever, just because they have a name, there's some kind of they have some kind of recognition. Somebody's gonna know the face. What that marquee is going to be enough to get your money back, selling it, leasing it to the streamers, maybe, but no one's gonna take you seriously, and it's gonna get buried. And it's, to me, it's just like a puss move. So I would never want to do it. And, you know, not everybody's got balls like Tarantino. You got to be Tarantino and have his kind of clout to put washed up actors in your movie. Because it's funny because I've looked at the Quentin Tarantino flicks and I've thought about that. And some of the people he puts in his movies, I'm like, man, if anybody else besides Tarantino was putting these people in their movie, it would be like a death knell. It'd be a death round.
Yeah.
But he's Tarantino and he's almost kind of become known for it, and he's bigger than the people he's putting in his movie, so he kind of gets that pass, but nobody else. So it's just like, dude, I love Eddie Furlong. Good.
Go ahead, Furlong.
I would say I love Eddie Furlong, but I would never work with that fucking guy.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that Tarantino doesn't try to like bring up some of these like action stars from the 90s, like Jean-Claude Van Damme, put him in a movie, one of his movies, or like even Sylvester Stallone. I mean, why doesn't he go down that road?
Sylvester Stallone was offered, a role.
Oh, really?
Tarantino. Which one was it? Gosh. Oh, I think he was offered the role as Butch in Pulp Fiction.
Oh shit! Wow.
He turned it down. For whatever reason. I think it was Butch.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, no, I know the writing's, as long as the writing's good, Blocko, but it's just, yeah, Neil McDonough is in a bunch of those fucking throwaway movies too. No, it's just
well, he probably thought it was tarnish his Rocky name or whatever.
If you're gonna be like a first time director and you want to really roll the dice on putting someone like Eddie Furlong, you're stacking the odds against you of you film not being taken seriously, right? Because at the end of the day, whoever funded your money or movie, or whoever picks up your movie for distribution, all they want is a profit, right? And they're going to look at your flick, and if it was like, $50,000, $100,000 flick, whatever it is, they're going to be like, well, if you get Eddie Furlong, he'll cost you peanuts, and with him, we can make a little bit of our money back and we'll be happy with this level of this margin. Like, you want to be the next best thing. You think whatever you wrote might be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you want to be the next Tarantino. Whoever's distributing your film doesn't give a shit about your dreams. They just want to make a margin off you.
Yeah.
So to me, I would never ever do that. But if you really want to roll the dice and putting someone like Eddie Furlong in your fucking movie, yeah, you're gonna have to get really lucky. What you write and what you put out has to be amazing. and it has to get seen by the right people. Timing's everything, and just but otherwise, I think the only hope for someone like a Furlong for making a comeback is for a big director like not just Tarantino, but Aronofsky is also known for this now too because he did it with he brought back Mickey Rourke's career,
Mickey
and now he
Rourke,
brought
yeah.
back and Brendan Fraser's career, and so he's kind of becoming this guy, um, which is great because Tarantino opened that door. But I think you have to be one of those big guys. So, but I would love to put Eddie Furlong in a credit if I knew it wasn't going to kill the fucking movie. Oh, absolutely. He'd have to lose
Uh,
some weight and fucking, you know.
well, we don't know because the Forest Hills is coming out, and he looks like he has a pretty big role in that. So I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to watching
but
it.
the thing about the Forest Hill is they've done a great job with marketing. That's all it is. Like they've really marketed this well to like the horror fan sites and the horror media sites and stuff like that. Because it's gonna be a straight to streamer or whatever. But the thing is you could tell they spent all their money in marketing, which is probably smart. They
Well,
spent all their
and their actors because they have Dee Wallace in there, they have Shelley Duvall, they
they
have
spent
Rachel
all their
Rose.
money on that shit, and they clearly didn't have a dime for post, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they've been marketing this fucking movie for 6 months to a year, getting people quote unquote hyped up for it. Oh, Shelley Duvall, who gives a fuck about Shelley Duvall? First of all, now, but anyway, I, she's and it almost seems like they've edited the trailer, they've got the stills. It almost insinuates, hey, this movie's ready to fucking go off. It's popping. But then after all the marketing's done, all the press is getting done, hey, we don't have any money for post. If we're gonna finish this movie, we need to start a Kickstarter. It's brilliant, actually. It's actually brilliant. It really is. It's actually fucking brilliant. So they just spent all their money. I think a lot of that extra money that maybe should have went into post on the marketing. I don't know or something. But anyway, I would love to work with him. I would love to work at the Pauly Shore too. But I'm sorry, only Tarantino can bring a guy like Pauly Shore back. Not
I
Aaron.
don't even think he could do that.
Yeah, I don't know if Paulie's got acting chops really.
I don't know.
I want to see Pauly Shore in The Whale, like The Whale too. Like I don't know what he would be like a I don't know. He's a washed up comedian. There's a story there. He's taking
Yeah.
these washed up guys that like the reason why Mickey Rourke was perfect for The Wrestler is because his story was emulating it was the same. It's like he was perfect. He's this guy that was washed up and that had lived a life where he burnt bridges and made mistakes. It was perfect. It was kind of a symbiotic thing. I don't know, man. There's probably a story to be told about Pauly Shore being a washed up comedian or a movie guy, but he's just got to have the acting chops.
I
Um,
definitely watch it though. I mean,
yeah, I mean, so would I. But anyway, so back to Joe Bob. We kind of went, yeah, he's a fat male
sideways.
stripper in the world too. But yeah, Joe Bob's great. He really brought it to the next level, the streaming service. And as far as I don't think Shudder funds their movies. They just buy them up and they get distributing rights for a while because eventually some of these have gone to like a movie like Mayhem, which is awesome. Did you ever watch that?
No, I never saw that one.
That first premiered on Shudder and it's labeled a Shudder original. But eventually, I think it went other places. So a lot of the stuff they have timed exclusivity. But Mayhem has Samara Weaving, is that her name? From Bill and Ted 3, Little Ted,
Mhm.
and she's in a lot of shit, right? Ready or Not, right? That one movie. And she's in Scream. She's the one that gets killed in the first scene. The
Oh,
teacher.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Samara
Okay.
Weaving. It's her and Stephen Yun from Walking Dead. But the movie's really, really fun. So that's really good. And yeah, you should watch that. I'm gonna pull up my list of movies that I think were notable of these. We'll talk about the sad boy or whatever the fuck it is at the end. Okay. Uh, the sadness. But Mayhem is awesome. And if you guys haven't watched Revenge, did you watch that?
Yeah, I liked Revenge.
That was a lot of fun,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And with a movie like Revenge, it doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. It's just a revenge movie.
Yeah.
It's just it's a bunch of guys that are fucking rich and fucking assholes and scumbags, and they do something bad to the wrong chick, and she just flips the script on them, and it's just enjoyable. It's just a lot of fun watching people get their comeuppance, basically. Uh, Eddie Furlong, did I ever see him in the movie Stoic? Is that the Uwe Boll? I did. Is that the one? Is that the Uwe Boll one? Because I'd heard that was actually kind of
I don't
entertaining.
know.
Oh, he fucks the guy with a broomstick in it. That's pretty cool. That sounds like something that would have been. That sounds like something that would have been in this movie, The Sadness.
Yeah.
But we're not getting there.
Most
We'll do that.
definitely.
Sorry, we'll do that at the end. But I'm just gonna go off mine real quick. And then, did you ever watch? Did you ever watch Haunt? That was okay.
I never saw Haunt. Was the I'm trying to look up the originals online to actually
That
see
one
because it's kind of hard
movie.
to.
That one movie you said was amazing, and you had me watch that I didn't really care for, but you loved. What was it called? There's one that's called
It
Anything
wasn't
for
Let the Right
Jackson.
One In.
No,
No.
let the right one in. That's a different movie. Yeah, see, you don't even remember what it's called, man. You loved it so much. It was like a demon possession weird movie about the guy that kills
In the
himself.
cabin. Yeah, yeah,
What
in the
was it
cabin.
called? What was it called?
Oh
There was
God,
a
what
movie,
was
another.
that called?
There's a separate movie called Anything for Jackson, which was just okay. We're starting to get a little bit into the territory of content, but I think Mayhem was amazing. I think Revenge was great. Haunt was kind of a fun Halloween movie about a haunted house. Uwe Boll's Heart of America film was the '90s. Would be up Zach's alley. Don't Weave the Flaps, Weasel.
Was it on the collection
No,
series?
you don't remember what it is?
I'm looking. It's hard to see. That's the problem with Shutters. Their user interface is shit. I mean, it stinks. I mean,
It's really bad. It's really hard to find stuff. And I swear, when you're on the main hub, uh, even when you're like scrolling through the main hub, I feel like once you reach the end of, I feel like there's more movies. Like you don't really see all the
yeah.
movies. Like
Hmm.
I'm like at a point you literally have to just manually search, and it's really really bad. But and I wish they would. I don't know. They should really have. Did they ever get apps on like the PlayStation and Xbox? Because they didn't have like an app for consoles, and
I
I
have
don't.
one on my Roku, but I don't know about the
I have it
consoles.
on Fire Stick, but I mean, for a while there, I was just doing my stuff on the consoles, and I couldn't watch Shudder, so I was never not really getting my money's worth. I would just watch Shudder on my PC and stuff every now and again. But anyway, so Todd can't even remember what the movie's called, but I didn't like it. I thought it was really boring. Um, I think you can I think you can wallow a little too much for me in my taste at least in that depressive dankness. Where the color grading on your movie is all soft and really washed out, and there's no levity of any kind. I'm not saying there has to be like Marvel Comics comic relief and really stupid out of place shit, but there's a way to implement levity and keep it realistic even in a serious movie. And I just remember that movie being one of those like sad boy porn movies, like, oh, okay. Even down to like him killing himself at the end, like, okay. It was just a bit too much for me, but
No, getting back to Shutter, the one thing I do like though, I wish they would take advantage of it more is the documentary section because horror documentaries are awesome.
it,
They do have the Darkness Part, In Search of Darkness Part 3, which I loved. I thought that was good.
oh, I didn't see the
Um,
part three. And then of course they put the Never Sleep Again doc on there for people to
yeah.
watch. And the Crystal Lake one is on there. Maybe I think it's still on there still, maybe. And
Wi-
then there's and then they had the original. They had the Curse films.
Yeah.
There's like two of those. Those are great. Even though if you're any kind of horror aficionado, you've heard all those stories. I don't think there was any stories in that first part, at least, that I wasn't aware of. But it's still always fun to hear about that stuff. I wish they would go a little deeper though. Um,
One thing I think would be benefit them very well is if they ended up. I don't know if you can actually do this, but getting with these DVD distributors and actually getting the rights to some of the special features, and then putting them on here, I think that would be freaking huge. If you had like interviews with
yeah,
horror
but what
directors and
would
everything like that, that would be
but
freaking
but
awesome.
doesn't but isn't that what physical media is holding on to is for what they offer that streaming doesn't?
Yeah, but I
You know what
mean,
I mean?
who else would want those special features rights to the
You could
movies?
you could technically get it's not streaming for a subscription, but when you buy stuff on Vudu, you usually get the special features that are the disc special features. But you're buying them. You're paying retail for them digital copies. But yeah, I don't know if that's the way to go. Just because, yeah, I mean, like, don't you want? I mean, that would just
I
be
mean,
putting physical out the pasture. You know,
but wouldn't you want
I
but some of these
would.
movies you can't buy everything. That's the whole thing. It's like I want special features to like a movie like it would actually get me to actually want to watch the damn movie
Yeah,
if I
but
watch some of these special features.
there is YouTube, Todd. I mean, all these special features end up on YouTube. Most of them.
I don't know about that, dude. So the YouTube is, I mean, they're pretty anal about copyright shit. So
I know. They flag you when you didn't do anything wrong.
yeah,
James Long, what's up, dude? I love the new YouTube. They're constantly changing the rules with YouTube for their guidelines, community guide. Like for example, now they've made it to where you can't cuss, you can't say a bad word in the first 30 seconds. I think it used to be like
yeah.
8 seconds. Now I'm like, what? So what does that really tell you? If okay, just don't. And I watch videos all the time that are like, oh yeah, we can't say anything for the first 30 seconds, and they let loose after the first minute or whatever. I'm like, well, is that what's going to keep kids from just? I don't get it. Like, just fast forward. Like, you're going to get to the bad stuff eventually. I don't really understand what their game is there.
Did you end up watching The Lair, the Shudder original exclusive?
Is that good? No, I don't think I did.
No, I haven't watched it, but Neil Marshall, he did Descent. But that's the only good thing he pretty much did as a
Oh,
director.
you know what's another one that was a Shudder original, at least for a time. I don't know if it was that that what was it called, like 1980 something? Like it's the 1980s, but about the neighborhood. It's kind of like
Yeah,
Stranger Things. It's about the
it's a
boyfriend
good
that's
movie. Yeah,
killing the kids. I mean, it kind of like, I don't know if it was capitalizing on Stranger
1984
Things,
or what?
something like that, but it was kind of in the vein, right? So I could see, but that one was fun.
Mhm.
I know I've seen a slew of other ones that I just can't think of right now, but anyway, I think Shudder's great, and I hope they keep doing well because I want them to get more coverage. I want them to get better movies, higher quality movies. You know, they've obviously worked with people like Eli Roth. What does he produce on there? Does he work like Masters of Horror, or is that an A&E show? Am
One
I getting?
one of the documentary series. I think he produces or something.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's so funny when you boot that thing up and the original theme by John Carpenter, and it's just dong dong dong
Yeah.
dong. Like wow, that check cleared, huh? He's got
Uh,
he's got the string in the background. Dong 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 dong. Sorry, I crack up.
it's The Dark and the Wicked is the movie.
Oh, that's the one, right?
That's the
Okay.
one I liked, but you hated.
It took me 2 or 3 watches to get through it all. It was just too boring and too bland and just I don't know. It's just I think obviously there's a very clear difference between movies that were shot on film and digital.
Yeah,
Call me old, Todd's old. I mean, come on, we can agree that film looks better, right? You're
absolutely.
never gonna have a movie that looks like Videodrome today or whatever. That's gonna have a certain look to it. It's all gonna look digital, but I think with the digital, man, and the way and how far like color correcting has gone, we're everybody just wants to be super fucking dark all the time,
Yeah,
like to the point where like even your dark scenes aren't even really lit. It's like I don't want to be this immersed. I don't want it to look like if all the lights in my house are off. Like I got to see what the fuck's going on in this movie, and it gets frustrating. And a lot of people have these like really really low light and just bland color grades, and they just look icky. And I don't know. I actually find much more exciting movies like the Neon Demon and how those look.
yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
it's like, dude, when stuff like that comes out, I'm not even talking about the quality of the movie, but just how they look. They knock me out. They stand out today,
hmm
like really, because they look amazing. And it's not that I don't like any of the drab stuff or the neutral stuff. Like I think a movie like Prisoners looks great, and that's a very drab whatever. But I like the blue tones. But I don't know. Some people just take it way too far. That's just I don't know.
you like the film grain, which I love the film grain. When it's actually shot on film, the more grain, the better for me, at least.
But everybody's afraid of color.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, man. Everybody has to color grade everything to where it looks like it's an overcast day outside,
yeah.
and it just goes too far sometimes. But anyway, celluloid is always better. Eli Roth, Eli Roth. Hey, that's Todd's new name for the new show. He's Eli Roth. I'm
Where
the
video rot,
I'm the Rottweiler. This I'm the Rottweiler coming at you with Eli Roth with a new video Roth.
and I'm the white turd.
No, you're Eli Roth. You're the white turd. No, what? Anyway, Dick Rot. You could be Richard Rot, Dick Rot.
Dick rot. I like that. It's fitting. Yeah, it's a good name.
Anyway, So, well, then let's lead into the movie that Todd forced me to watch.
Oh, but before that, did you
BBB for
see?
pork. Go ahead.
Yeah, did you see Skinamarink? Because that was like a big one.
I've been. Was that a Shudder exclusive?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Shudder was
okay.
on there.
Everybody was talking about that one. Well, that one was actually in theaters, right? Too. It got a release.
Probably very limited. I didn't see it.
But it
around
made
here.
a shit ton of money based off like the pennies it cost to make. I
Mhm.
haven't watched it yet. It's been on my
I haven't
list.
either.
I'll. A lot of people say it's shit, but I hear it's a whole lot of nothing. I hear it's just like it's all like shot on video, and it's like basically just the vantage point of a.
Perspective VOP.
It's just it's just like
POV.
it's a kid. You're watching a kid's nightmare as he's having like a real life nightmare, like a kid would have, like a little kid. And I hear it's like lacking in story, and it's just like a fever dream. But dude, if these guys made this movie, like I said, I'm all about it. These movies like Terrifier 2 and Skinamarink and even what's that other one with Justin Long? Barbarian.
Barbarian.
I'm
Yeah.
all for these movies making big splashes and making money in the box office. Whether or not I think they're like amazing, it's good. The fact that we have a new mascot that people are like dressing up as at cons and Art the Clown is insane.
He's awesome though.
But I feel like
yeah.
when's the last time we had a new mascot come out where he's getting dressed
Since
up
the
as it all?
80s. It's been a long
I
time.
feel like the last one, if I'm
it
not
might
incorrect,
be it. Stephen King.
no, but it's been around. Yeah, but that's an adaptation. I'm not going to throw that in the same category. Art the Clown's new. The only other thing I could think of that came before that, maybe the Saw guy, the Saw puppet. That was probably the last one.
Saw puppet. Yeah.
That's probably and that was a long time ago. Skinamarink was
Well,
fun.
Hellraiser
Mendoza
wasn't
says
too long ago either. So
Hellraiser was fucking 4 years ago, 38, 5 years ago, late 80s.
yeah. Well, all the sequels too.
Oh,
But
that doesn't count. We're talking about new creations. Jeez.
yeah.
Hellraiser's fucking as old as me. Anyway, Skinamarink was fun. Mendoza says I caught it at the theater. People walked out. Aaron, I would be careful. There are a lot of flashing lights, and you have astigmatism. Kills my fucking eyes. Oh, dude, that will drive me crazy. But I'll watch it. It's not too long though, right? Billy the Puppet does not
It's 100
count. Silhouette.
minutes, dude. That's way too long.
Billy the Puppet, is that the silent what the James Wan movie, right? The Dead Silence.
That
Billy
movie's
the Puppet?
terrible.
Is that Billy the Puppet?
I don't
Or am
know.
I getting there wrong? Anyway, let's talk about The Sadness. Todd, I had kind of heard about this in passing, and Riverman said, hey, we should watch that. A lot of people are talking about it. And I don't know. I went into it not knowing a damn thing about it. Case in point, I had a lot of stuff going on yesterday, and the only time I had to stay up late past my bedtime to get this movie watched. I'm usually in bed by at least midnight to get about my 8 hours. I had to stay up until like 2 a.m. to watch this. So I feel so tired today. And I'm like, all right, well, I had a little work to do. I'm working on mood boards and stuff for my film. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch this while doing the mood board. And then it was like, fuck, it's subtitles. I had no idea it was a foreign film. Like shit. So I had to like close. I couldn't work on anything else. And I'm like, watch this movie. And I had no idea what it was about. And let me tell you, the fact that it's called The Sadness, I just don't get. Why is it called The Sad? Is it supposed to be ironic? Because there's nothing sad about it at all.
Spoiler alert.
It should be called The Fucking Disgusting.
Everybody dies in it.
So at the very end of we're jumping ahead. At the very end of the movie, did I hear guns firing when she left on the?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I don't think the title's good. It would be good if it fit the movie, but it doesn't. But the movie itself, in short, okay. So let me kind of go over. The premise is super simple. It's a satire on the pandemic. And at first, when I saw they were going the pandemic thing, I rolled my eyes a little bit. But I gave it a pass because I'm like, you know what? The only reason I roll my eyes is it's because it's so soon, and they made this movie right during the pandemic. But if they made this movie in 10 years, it wouldn't be an eye roller because it'll be okay to talk about that stuff.
It would still work. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just a little eye rolling. It's like, God, I'm so over pandemic stuff. But if I can look past that, they were going on. It was a satire. Basically, there's a virus going out. Everybody's just getting sick. The whole beginning of the movie kind of reminded me of Shaun of the Dead, where like one of the main boyfriend is kind of going about his every day, but then people are
Yep.
starting to act weird and kill people. It's just like Shaun of the Dead. He's buying the paper and slipping on the blood, and people you see people in the background, um, and just like Shaun of the Dead, the people that he talks to at the very beginning come back. Like even his gardener friend, it's just like Shaun of the
Mhm.
Dead. So it's very much like that. And basically, whatever this virus is, it causes people to go violent and mad and kill people, which is also like a certain M Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie, which also kind of reminds me of what's the Mark Wahlberg one where they breathe in the spores or the stuff in the air and it makes them commit
The
suicide.
Happening,
The Happening. They
the
don't kill
Happening,
other.
or the Crazies.
Yeah,
Jordan
yeah,
Mel.
it's definitely stuff that's been done. But anyway, so it makes them get violent. But the twist here is they get violent and horny,
Hmm.
and so that's pretty much it. And we follow this one boy who his girlfriend goes to work, and then all shit hits the fan after she leaves, and he's just trying to get to his girlfriend. And his girlfriend, she's commuting to work, and that's when the shit hits the fan. And then she ends up at a hospital, and that's it. It's just about him getting to her and what they're enduring, and that's really it. There's not a whole lot to the story, but I will say, um,
Before
I
before you
go ahead.
say anything, um, there is one character in this movie that is just he's the
The
bee's
train
knees,
pervert,
man.
the train pervert.
Yeah,
He's hilarious.
he's Michael Douglas from Falling Down. Let's just call him that. And
The
he is,
kind of
yeah,
the
he's a
train pervert.
pervert too. Yeah, he
Okay,
is
so
amazing.
he's the bub you follow around the whole movie. He's all over this thing, and but anyway, I pretty much told you as far as the story beats. I gave you the theme. She makes it to. She's on the way to. She's commuting via train when stuff hits the fan, and there's this pervert that like tries to like talk to her and hit on her, and she tells him off because he's being creepy, and then he's that disgruntled middle aged virgin type guy that can't get a girl to talk to him, and then all of a sudden, I think that whole scene on the train where everybody's killing each other. I'm in between because I don't like stuff like this typically that's overly violent. I like violence if it's cartoony. This kind of was like on the border. Like some of the stuff was getting silly, but it still was like gore. And I'm like, it's just there was it's I found myself saying a lot. My girlfriend was in bed and she wasn't
Yeah,
watching it. I told her don't open your eyes because if she could
yeah.
hear it, she's like, "Oh
Mhm.
my, what's happening? Oh my." And I'm like the whole time I'm saying this to myself, like, "Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it." It
Yeah,
was the whole movie was me, "Don't do it. Don't do it," especially with one part we'll talk about.
yeah.
But so everybody in this train gets slaughtered and it's headed up by the fucking pervert. He goes crazy because they just go mad in an instant.
They get
It's basically
infected. Yeah,
it's 28 days later too, right?
yeah,
He
yeah,
goes mad and they're just compulsively killing everybody and then raping people. And at first you don't quite get that, but I swear to God, in that train scene, you just see like this one guy mount a guy's ass and start fucking his ass. Like, what
yeah,
did I? It's like, was he doing what I think he was doing? And anyway, she saves a fat girl who she trades seats with, and who the guy doesn't seem to like. It's like, oh God, you're
yeah.
fat and ugly. Anyway, she ends up losing an eye. She gets stabbed in the eye, but he
He's
saves
with
her.
an umbrella.
Yeah, with an umbrella. And so they're running away. Everybody in that car, I think, got slaughtered. The pervert's chasing them down like a runway to leave the train station. And some asshole at the end of it's like closing them in because he doesn't know if they're infected or not. And they end up sliding underneath the closing door, here and the fat chick. And let me tell you, I was dying laughing, dude, when he stuck his face to the
Yeah.
slot. Like the stuff he was saying was hilarious.
Oh, it's hysterical.
I don't remember everything he was saying, but it was basically on the level of like it almost like a little mail slot. He's like looking, and he would say stuff like equivalent to "I can smell your pussy." Yeah. It was super juvenile but hilarious. And
It was a horror comedy. I mean, but it was weird because it was more horror. I mean, the comedy elements in it, I love those too. I was very surprised with this movie. Let's just say that.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, Silhouette, you're absolutely right. That's what everybody was saying when I was reading comments about it. He's saying this movie, believe it or not, is based on Garth Ennis's Crossed comics from the mid 2000s. The director confirmed that. Same plot line, but with more rape. The Cross comics, I mean, that's Asian Horror 4 Push Limits. That's straight up. Yeah, so based on the Cross comics, unless you're adapting it, it's called ripping it off. So maybe he did. But, you would probably say that the Cross comics also ripped off all these movies that we talked about that have ripped off each other. It's all old hat. But anyway, they make it out of the train station, and from there, the girl's got her eye out. She's asking this one guy that she hits in the face, which is pretty funny. Where's the hospital? He points the way, and then she makes it in the hospital, and that's where we spend the rest of the movie. All the while, she's in the hospital. Then we go back to the boyfriend who's like trying to text her and shit. And the second funniest part of the whole movie, when he comes across the basketball court and those guys beating the shit out of that guy. And this is like, he already killed like his gardener friend and the neighbor. We already did that. But when he comes across these guys, they've got him like tied up and they're doing the nutcracker thing, dude. I was like, no. They're ramming him into the raw. And he's getting tortured and he chases them off or whatever and he unties them. And I fucking died when the fucking guy's like, hey, what you doing? I was about ready to shoot my load. I was like, oh no. And they I was about ready to shoot my load. It's just so
there's some pretty dirty talk in this movie too. Yeah.
A good thing it was in what was it, the Taiwanese or Chinese. They were speaking Chinese, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But
Mandarin.
it was Taiwan. Dude, yeah, it was hilarious. I was laughing my ass off. And then we go back to the hospital, and then they're rounding up everybody. The main hospital's closed. They're trying to like help out the fat girl. But somebody in the group in the hospital all of a sudden is infected and goes mad. And then all of a sudden the fucking pervert shows back up. I don't know how he got out of where he was, but he did, because these guys are smart. They're totally. Because as they end up describing later when they meet that doctor, which I'll get to, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing is disgusting and wrong, but they have a compulsion. They can't not do it. Like, they're totally fine and human. But anyway, after they all get slaughtered again, it just turns into a big slaughter fest in this hospital.
Man, it's so gory, man. It's
dude. Okay, the little pussy that gets punched in the face that tried locking him in the train station, he runs away like a bitch and he hides underneath one of the gurneys. And then the only person in this hallway he escapes to is the fat girl, who they've since patched up. They got a neck brace on her. They got her eye wrapped up. And then she's just sitting there while the shit's going down, like in the next hallway over. Anyway, the fucking pervert comes around looking for, I guess, Fatty, the guy. But then he sees the girl. And this is the worst part of the whole movie, man. This is the biggest. No, don't do it. No, don't do it. No, don't do it. He takes her eye. And then you see him unzipping his pants. I've never had my heart racing so much. And then he starts fucking her eye socket. And it's very uncomfortable to watch for about 5, 6, 10 seconds, however long it is. It's way too long.
but they don't show any of that. It's all in
but I know, but they show him thrusting in something in her head off screen, and it's enough, dude.
It's pretty
enough.
Gross,
and the next time we see her, she's infected, and she even had a funny line or whatever, because they all become horny and stuff like that. It's just so weird. And then the surviving girl, she's somehow surviving everything at this point. She escapes. She ends up killing the pervert, right? Maybe not. I don't know if it's right now, because he was like taunting her, like, "Oh, your fat friend." Like, he's like saying things like, "I never had a threesome before." Oh, and then what did he say? Oh, he said, when he was taunting her, he said something like, by the time that before I was done, like basically fucking her eye, she was begging me not to stop. Like, she had turned.
He goes from one liner to one liner, man. He's the highlight of the movie.
It's just all one liners. And she ends up killing him. I don't even remember how she killed him, to be honest with you. But I don't remember how he died. But she ends up escaping into another room, hospital room, where there's this other doctor who turns out to be a virologist. And he has her at gunpoint. He blocks her, says, "Hey, handcuff yourself." And he like chemically showers her to make sure she's not infected. And then once she's not turning, he undoes her. But he's basically saying, "Hey, I'm gonna inject this shit in you, and if you turn, I'll kill you. But if you don't, well, then you might have a blood type that's can lead to a vaccine,
Yep.
and you can help save everybody." And anyway, she doesn't turn, and but she's uncuffed at a point, I think, because he lets her out when she doesn't turn in the shower.
Yeah, she's putting her clothes back on or
She's
something.
putting her clothes back on, and just, dude, then you kind of get a reveal, right? Where you hear the baby crying in the trash can, and she opens it, and there's like that little zombie 28 days later baby, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's fucking messed up. Anyway, you don't really get a lot of dialogue at that point yet, but he takes her by gun, and he's like, "We're going to go to the helipad. They're waiting for us." And he's taking her by gun, leading her out to the hallway. They end up getting bum rushed. Maybe that's where they get bum rushed by the pervert, right? Is it the pervert that kills him?
The pervert comes out with an axe and he cuts the dude's foot off.
Yeah, he cuts half his foot off, the balls of his feet off.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and he's still not down yet. So it's like, "Oh, get me to the fucking helipad. They like you can't get out without me, so you better help me," And he's clearly a goner because she's like, "Well, they're not gonna take you now. You're all fucked up and you're infected," because he had a hazmat suit on before, and he's like desperate, like, "No, you need me." And anyway, they kind of catch up to him. He slows down. They end up ganging on him, I think, and then she takes the keys. So he's fucked. But anyway, as he's getting killed, I don't know if it implies that he was fucked up normally or if he was infected, because what did he say? He admits, yeah, I killed those babies. Like, it's like, because he admits before that he was killing the babies because when he was in the room, he was justifying it, saying, these babies were born.
He was infected.
Yeah, he's like, I was doing him a favor. He's like, I was doing him a favor because they're not going to survive in this world. Their parents are dead. I might as well use them and kill them to test their blood and shit like that to see if any of them have the cure. So he was trying to justify it in there. But then as he's dying out in the hallway, he basically says, "It felt so damn good to kill those kids." Or whatever he says.
The funny thing is, like the creep on the train, he ends up cutting the dude's foot off, and then he ends up puking in the dude's open wound on his foot. They turn him into a zombie, dude.
They kept raising the bar with like unique ways of like, how are we gonna, what kind of kill are we gonna show here? Yeah. Oh yeah, puking on the foot, dude.
The cut foot, half foot.
It's just ridiculous, dude. Anyway, she makes it to the end. She unlocks the gate with a key just in time as they're chasing her. Because it's the boyfriend. The boyfriend shows up. The boyfriend comes back, but he's infected, and she's with the pervert. I don't know if he's with the pervert or if she's with the doctor. I can't remember. I think it's the doctor.
She's with the doctor. Yes.
Yeah, and then the boyfriend is the boyfriend. How does the doctor die? Officially die. Does the boyfriend do it? I think the boyfriend does it. I actually don't remember that old tidbit. But anyway, he makes his entrance, and all of a sudden, since the last time we saw him, he's now changed. He says a line like, "Oh, is that your new boyfriend?" Anyway, she gets past him. Yeah, I think the doctor's attacking him, right? The doctor shoots him or something, like in the neck or something.
because he turns into a zombie.
Yeah, and so she's able to run past the boyfriend, and the boyfriend then goes for the doctor. She runs down the hall past the boyfriend in the gate with the key.
That's correct.
I've never seen a single movie where you have a ring of keys and she gets it right on the first one, because it's like that's the tension, like, oh, and then she just gets in there, whatever, and she locks it. The guy's dead. The boyfriend's there, and the boyfriend's kind of doing the whole Return of the Living Dead 2 thing. It's so sweet and spicy.
I love that part too. I love that he paid homage to that.
It's like those spicy, and he's like, and he's being all sweet and stuff, and he's like, "And I want to wear your skin. I want to cut your skin off." Doing all stuff. It gets creepier and creepier. She's like, "You love me?" He's like, "What does it feel like?" Like she's almost like getting like maybe we should just die together.
Getting off in it, yeah.
Bride of Frankenstein shit. We belong dead. And anyway, yeah, his sweet and sentimental talk slowly turns into, and I want to bash your face in. I want to peel your skin off. It's awesome. But anyway, so I don't remember. Does she just leave him there? Or does she actually kill him? She just leaves him there, right?
She left him there. Yeah.
She leaves him there. She turns away and she goes out the door where we hear the chopper. And as the door is closing, it was kind of hard to discern because there's a chopper going on. But yeah, you hear gunshots too, and I guess that insinuates that they shot her, and that's the movie.
Yeah, they had a close up on the boyfriend's face while all that shit was happening, which is pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah,
I
no,
like
the whole
that.
the end scene where he's got that weird look on his face. Yeah, that was pretty creepy. I
And the Chinese people in the movie, I mean, when they're smiling and laughing and going crazy, they're pretty scary, dude.
they're all good. They're all
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
And even like when it cuts to credits after they show his face, it's like some Taiwanese death metal band. Oh no, oh no. It's like I so to talk about the movie itself, this is it was really well made. It was well edited, well shot, very inventive in the kills. You know, it's not
Some
the
of
kind
the
of
actors weren't good, but that's okay.
I they didn't distract me. I don't even remember them. That they're all funny. It all fit, tonally it all fit regardless. This isn't the kind of movie that's trying to like break ground or be like inspire, you know, be the next big. It's not trying to be Schindler's List in the script or anything like that. It's just it's aiming to be gross. It's aiming to have inventive kills and to be over the top. So that's kind of a plus and a minus for me because it's a little bit
it's definitely a party movie.
Okay,
movie
so
you want to watch with your friends.
It goes a little too much into shock factor territory, which is always a downgrade.
Yeah,
with the rape, with the excessive sexual assault. I'm like, okay, it's one thing to kill. I get it. They probably felt like they had to add the rape for two reasons. A, because we want to be edgy, but it really doesn't really mean why. But also, we have to do something different than all these other movies we're ripping off. We have to add the rape. And also, I mean, it's obviously, like I said, a satire on the pandemic. My only takeaway was, I guess this is supposed to be representing of people being pent up and, you know, getting frustrated and shit like that. And, you know what I mean? It's just the whole lockdown shit.
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty much there was a whole scene we didn't talk about of the president or the remember on the telecast.
Yeah,
they paid homage to Scanners.
Yep,
and his head blew up.
It was crazy. Yeah,
that was a homage as well.
The special effects in this are awesome, man.
Yeah, you know, it had a little bit of CGI, but that's expected.
Yeah.
But it was blended in well with all the practical. Yeah. So like I said, for what they were trying to do, they succeeded. The kind of movie they were trying to make, they succeeded. So I can't slight them for that. It was edited well. It was hilarious. But yeah, I think it went a little too far in the shock for me, I guess, as far as like the sexual stuff. It's like, this is here for the sake. But at the same time, that's where all of the funny dialogue derived from is the horniness. So I don't really know how to take that. For me, though, it is definitely in my list of like one and done movies. Like I can't watch this again.
Really? See, I was the complete opposite, where I actually want to rewatch it. It's really just a fun movie.
No, it's just because of the violence. The movie.
No, it's a good party movie, man. If my buddy comes over, like you came over, this would be fun to just sit down and watch together.
Yeah, I could see.
Balls off,
I could see watching it with people, but outside of that, just the overt, like I said, Evil Dead 2 violence I can do. It's just as gory, but it's cartoony. It's over the top. There's something about this movie where it barely was straddling that line. It wasn't like Saw, but it was still silly, but it was straddling that line of just so much gore. And it was actually pretty exhausting. Dude, by the end of the hour and 40 minutes, I was exhausted because it never lets up, dude. It's just fucking insane.
There's tons and tons of gore.
But like I said, that's not really a bad thing. Like, because they were trying to make this like adrenalized movie.
Yeah. So occasionally you want those type of movies.
So my nitpicks aren't knocking it because I get what they were trying to do. I just think at the end of the day, it's not my kind of movie 100%. Because I never go for just violence. That's not my thing. You know, and like I said, this was straddling the line. It wasn't gore porn. It wasn't like Saw, which I don't like. It was still kind of campy. It was gross. I don't know if it really crossed that line for me. Like I could watch it again, I guess. You know, whatever.
It's just fun. It's not groundbreaking or anything like that. But for something that came out last year, like this would probably be in my top 10.
Yeah, Sean's 100% right. I think that's where I'm coming from. He says I'm not really into rape, sexual, violent movies. That's my thing. I more than violence, dude, sexual assault and rape gets me, dude. It just that to me that's bone chilling stuff, and it was just pretty gratuitous. And when it got, like I said, from a filmmaker standpoint, they were building up, and you
Yeah.
build up to the eye rape, and it's the most intense that
See,
we've seen.
I can go without that. That's ridiculous, but
But it was uncomfortable. Like I was laughing because I'm like, oh, but it's so it was like uncomfortable laughter, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like Silhouette can deal with it to an extent. Look, I think there's ways to do that where I can do it too, but like I know they didn't show like the contact, but when you're watching this guy, fuck, you see enough. You see him take her head, it cuts to him, and you just see him humping it, like going crazy, saying shit for like 10 seconds, and you hear like sound effects. Dude, that's
I can go. Yeah, I can definitely
that's
go without that part. But I mean, his dialogue is funny.
that's the beauty of filmmaking because it was putting it in your head, and I didn't like that. I was thinking about it, right? And then of course the next time you see her, all you can think about is her eye. Like, God, there was a cock in that eye. Is it bigger? You're looking at the eye. Is the eye hole look sloppier? God, and it's just fucking with you. And literally as they hang on it so long for like 10 seconds to where they make your mind run. And like I said, it's brilliant if that's what they're trying to achieve. But like literally, they were hanging on it, making the sound so long to where I was thinking, God, is he not hitting her brain? Is she gonna die? Is her brain okay? How do you survive this? You know what I mean? Like, how do you survive that? How do you spot? Maybe it's got a little Asian dick and it doesn't hit the brain. I don't know.
Well,
I was thinking about that. I had I was looking out for.
if I was a director though, I would have went back and I would have cut the shot of him pulling off the eye patch, because then it would leave it up kind of to the imagination. Be like, oh, did he really do the eye, or was it?
But at that point, they've established they're a fucking balls to the wall movie.
Yeah.
They couldn't pull back at that point. We're talking about we're towards the end of the movie.
Yeah,
They've built up to that. The first thing they show that insinuates rape is a guy mounting his ass and raping his ass, Todd. I mean, like
that's true.
There's no more subtlety. It's lost now. That's not what. Like I said, what they aim to do, they did a good job at. I just don't know what they aimed at is 100% for me. Now, there's parts of it I think were right on the money, my level. Like honestly, the whole scene where it was kind of hard to watch, but it was fun. I love the basketball scene of them torturing that guy.
Oh yeah.
And then like, they weren't raping him, but they were just like beating the shit out of him and hitting him on the head with a base. Dude, I went, ooh, when they clocked him on the head with the baseball bat. Yeah. Just that obviously it was a fake bat, and just the sound effect they add in just makes it look so really. Oh, I was like,
grabbed his legs and ran to the pole.
They all the group of guys grabbed one leg and they nutcrackered him and ran him into the fucking hoop pole. And dude, I was just like, no. And as far as sexual goes, when he said, "Oh, what you doing? I was about to shoot my load," that's hilarious. But see, there was no sexual assault there. Like it just implied that they're all horny monsters, and that's not taking it too far. But yeah, when you're fucking the eye sockets and
yeah, that was pretty little over the top for me. I'm not really into that, but
yeah. Anyway, I gave it. It was funny, man, because like I was teetering between scores, but I actually gave it a 6. But in a weird way, that's just because it's not necessarily my type of movie 100% through and through. But I think it's more than a 6, right? I think it's at least a 7 because it's well made. And like I said, it's well made, and I know what their intention was, and I think they succeeded at the kind of movie they were making, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, and kind of for me, I actually give it a 6 as well.
No.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say an 8 at least.
No, just because, like you were saying, this isn't normally my type of movie. But now that I'm talking about it more, I'd probably give it a 7 as well, because because of the fun. It's just a fun movie. I mean, they have the gross parts, which I
don't know what it is, because a movie like Dawn of the Dead was pioneering in gore, and it's got its like satire element too, and all that stuff. But something about the blood being like red paint and it being fake. It was very clearly fantasy. There's something about when you watch in Day of the Dead, when you watch them pull guts, choke on him, and he's talking as they're devoweling him. That's so much a comic book. It's not real, and it's easy to have fun and dissociate reality. But yeah, this movie was relentless, where it never let up. So even though it was over the top, it never let up. So it never gave you a chance to dissociate, and it forced you to fucking just absorb it and be in it. And it did something to me. And so by the time we get to the eye rape, I'm just like, I can't. This is hard to watch, man.
It's definitely an effective film.
I I don't know if it's
That's
the
I don't know.
toughest movie I've had to watch. I don't think it's the hardest movie I've ever had to watch.
No, 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 no.
Right? I mean,
Well,
there's
because a
other
lot of
movies.
it's implied, so which is good because I don't want
Oh, I don't know about that, dude. You saw fucking knives and hatchets going in fucking necks and head. This is a lot. a lot. Dude, it was so funny after the after the I don't know if it's the train
I
or the
was talking about the
hospital.
whole sex stuff is what I was
Dude,
talking about.
the
Not
train.
the violence, man. The
Dude,
violence
that's
is
like
crazy.
when I don't remember if it's the train or the hospital, which bloodbath it was where everybody gets slaughtered, where it's like they're literally in a pool of blood. It's like it's the whole walls and everything just painted with this like a pool of blood. It's insane. But yeah, I really think it is the sex stuff that kind of put it over. But don't Silhouette, thanks so much for the donation. Don't read the Cross comics. There's a pregnant infected kid in one issue. They don't show the act, obviously, but it's one of the most horrific parts in it. Yeah, man, I don't know. To each their own, but like I
I
said,
if Shudder's going to be putting out like, stuff like this, the original though, it's pretty impressive, man. Like for Shudder original, I had a lot of fun with this movie.
well, and like I said, they're just the ones that are picking it up. They're not actually making it and actually producing it. They're just distributing it, right? They're picking it up. Like these guys filmed this movie in Taiwan, and Shudder's who picked it up and is selling it on their platform. So, but that's good. I don't care. I that's actually better than if they're like producing their own movies. But yeah, props. Like I said, I it was well made. It was well made. So, like I said, just because it's not necessarily my type of movie through and through, I give it a 6. But I could totally see why somebody would think it's an 8. I saw the
Yeah.
ratings on Letterboxd, and it was high. There's a
Mhm.
lot of 8s and up there. So, but I get it. But I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm right where you are. I gave it a 6 as well. But I mean,
Sometimes I don't like
I still liked it.
sexual assault's the hardest thing for me to watch. Sometimes I think it can be done right in a movie where it does serve the story, and it can be done. I know there's no such thing as tasteful sexual assault, but it can be portrayed, implied in a somewhat tasteful manner, and it's serving the story. I think it can be done because it can be a powerful thing if it's relevant. But obviously, this is all about shock. So
Yeah, and that's why I downgraded just because of the shock value and the try hard gore is what
like
I
there's
say.
like
I mean,
there's a
they yeah.
there's certain like types of prison movies, man, that always have that sort of like uh arbitrary rape scene that has to be in a rough prison movie, and I've seen those range from somewhat tasteful to just hard to. It's always hard to watch, man. It's always hard to watch, but or even listen to, even when they cut away. But I actually fucking hate it, dude. I hate it, man. Like I get it. That stuff happens in boys' homes and prisons, but you can have people walk in the room, you can have an interaction, and then you can cut to the outside of the room and maybe hear someone scream and then cut away. That's enough. I was watching like you watched a movie like Dog Pound, which is like the loose remake of Scum, right? Great movies, both of them. But those are about juvenile boys' homes, and there is rape, and it's uncomfortable, man.
Yeah, I
Like
wouldn't watch that
it's
shit.
uncomfortable. Like you don't really get to imply nothing. You see fucking bending over. You see the fucking kid getting raped and shit. Like, dude, I can't fucking do this. Y'all have nightmares, dude.
No,
It's
no.
harrowing shit.
Yeah.
Even American History X is a little rough, right? It's because American History X, you see him doing the deed, and then they cut to like the blood going down the drain in the shower, and then like
The good
it's just
outweighs the bad. That's a great movie though.
that is a great movie. And at least with American History X, it's kind of over fast, at least. And he gets over it real quick. All of a sudden, the next thing you know, he's got hair and he's making friends with the black guy and he's laughing.
He just needs a couple stitches and he's good.
Yeah, he needed to get fucked in the ass. It took a good fucking in the ass to set him straight, which is the irony of the whole thing. And I got to get home and tell Danny. I got to tell Danny there's another way to live life. This is not right. Oh, Danny, don't listen to Stacy Keach. He's a racist asshole. But anyway, Hold on. So we'll wrap up. Hold on. What is Silhouette saying here? Hey, Batman, I didn't say hi to you, man. My Tekken will create the destructions of the devil and the renewal of the gods. Hi, Batman bot. I know you're not a bot because you've actually responded to my questions. Uh, we'll wrap up. Go ahead and ask some questions. We're gonna wrap up this episode of the what is it called again? What do we call it?
Video rot?
We're video rot. We're gonna wrap up this edition of Video Rot. God, it feels so weird. I just has to grow on me a little bit. I love it, but it's telling so weird.
Yeah, I know. I understand. Yeah.
I feel like we don't earn this sky blue background. I feel like we got to be. It feels so greasy. Sean says really dug those goons in their clown masks during that one bank heist at Batman. Oh, I'm talking with the Bat. Oh yeah, several viewers are leaving. Silhouette says you better drop the subject. Just FYI. Yeah, that happened a couple weeks ago. I don't remember. We got on some kind of weird taboo topic, and I literally was watching them drop, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, okay. We're just talking about the money, man. We're just talking about the movie. But
yeah.
Oh, Batman. That is so. Wait, I'm so confused if this is really Mac or not, because he's trying to take Mac's identity, Batman. The omniscience of nobility is truly rather idyllic in its trendiness. Batman says it's Mac. I'm damn high damn. No, Mac has never talked about liking Batman. I don't think this is what he would do. I'm actually going to let me see. No,
didn't we do this a few weeks ago?
It's not Mac. It's not Mac. I don't believe it at all. Everybody's like, I told you, Coom Gang. No, it's not Mac. It's somebody else. But anyway, last thing, Silhouette. Quick question: will you cinema enema on the Good Burger 2 coming later this year, brother? Zach and Mac love that damn movie, so we'll do it. Why not? It'd be fun. I'm sure it'll be like Coming to America. Coming to America. You know, it probably won't be very good. Sinbad can't be in it because Sinbad's like all stroked out, and he's like,
really? I didn't know that.
He's got like a Kickstarter going, man. He's in bad shape. Wow. He's been in bad shape. Yeah. I think he's broke. They can't afford the medical bills because he's just been ravaged by all kinds of like bad illnesses, and he looks real rough. So he's like a shell of what he was. So I think they're having their hopes high as family, but you know, it's pretty rough.
That sucks. I love Sinbad. He's great.
Yeah, so he's probably not going to be in GB2. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much. Yeah, sorry it kind of got. Yeah, hashtag pray for Sinbad. Sorry it kind of got a little dark, but that's just the movie we're talking about. And also, you can blame River because he made me watch. I wasn't expecting it either. The movie was called The Sadness.
Well, I heard it was gory, but that's all I heard. I didn't hear.
I didn't even know it was foreign. Explain the title really quick before we go. Why is it called The Sadness?
I thought because everybody dies in the end. I don't know why it's called.
Then by that logic, a lot of movies are sad.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Don't ask me.
This is. I think it was supposed to be like a troll, because I went in expecting some kind of vibe because it's called The Sadness. I had no idea it was gonna be high octane, sexual assault, gore.
I didn't know that either.
It was comedy. Yeah. It's more like the brutal funny. It's brutal. It's funny. It's nothing about it's sad. But anyway, didn't want you reading it even out of curiosity. But yeah, no, I read about that in the comments. I was reading about the movie last night, and I'd heard people talk about Crossed in reference. So no, anyway, guys, thank you so much. So here's the plan for next week. Josh James said that he should be good for Tuesday, and that we're going to do a Friday 13th tier list. Now, if something happens and something happens with his job, we have another topic that ready to go, and we'll do the Friday 13th whenever he's free. But that's the plan. But the topic that I came up with today, I like. Do you like it? We got to talk about technology, man. I want to talk about, because Todd and I are old enough to where we have like a foot in sort of both sides of things. We could talk about what it was like going from what it was like buying VHSs in the early 90s and late 80s, what it was like watching the evolution of VHS, and what was it like when DVDs came out, when we got our first DVD players, and then obviously the jump to Blu-ray. I mean, we could go all over the place with that. And you could even do it with music, man. God, going from like a tape Walkman to the CD Walkmans, that the early CD Walkmans I always think about, you couldn't even really walk with them because they'd skip.
Yeah.
Then they started marketing like they start marketing anti-skip technology, and there's so much we could talk about with all that stuff with computers. So
I
we'll
remember I
talk
used to
about
have to put a rubber band around my Walkman because like the flap
yeah.
would come up.
We'll get into all of that because that to me that's gonna be a loaded episode. But we might have to like forego the intro to make room for that one. But anyway, Silhouette, thank you so much for the last donation. Tech like Bubble IMAX from the late '90s. Hey,
Yeah,
we'll touch on computers too, man. But yeah, that'll be a really fun one. There's gonna be a lot of branch off stories there. I could tell you all about VHS. I could tell you about my first DVD player. I could tell you about my first DVDs. I could tell you all about game consoles. We could talk about the arcades. We could talk about all that stuff because it's all is so broad. But like I said, that'll
internet
either
infancy, like the mid '90s with the
yeah,
internet.
you go from think about it. This is just giving you guys a preview. Then you go from 8 tracks to tapes. Then you got vinyl tapes. And you go to CDs. Then you go through the LimeWire stage, the downloading and Napster and shit like that. And then obviously streaming. And now we're like back to vinyl. We can sort of tell you what it was like in our different stories for all that stuff. Which I know a lot of you guys can relate to. But we'll put a cap on it till then. That'll either be next week or the week after, depending on when Josh is going to come on with us. But yeah, Batman, have you ever tasted pussy in the pale moonlight? You ever tasted bad pussy in the pale moonlight? But anyway, we're going to leave it with that. I think that's a great way to end it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for helping us get our name Video Rot. Hashtag Video Rot. That is right. So
Perfect.
why don't you guys actually use that, man? Let's get it trending. We are
Absolutely.
Video Rot. We got to get some Video Rot t-shirts. We got to come up with a logo. Who wants to help us come up with a logo? Artists out there, Silhouette, you're an artist. Or I'll ask Zach. We'll figure it out. All right, guys. Catch you guys next week. Bye.
Later.